Welcome to Flip the Script with Vic, a sacred space for honest, unfiltered, and sometimes taboo conversations between women walking the path of truth, healing, and soul remembrance. What started as my personal exploration has become a communal prayer, a podcast devoted to amplifying women's stories in their own words. I'm your host, Victoria Nielsen, intuitive healer, mama, and space holder for the divine feminine. Here, we gather as cycle breakers, mothers, mystics, creatives, witches, and wild ones, flipping the script on what it really means to be a woman in today's world. Through raw interviews, intimate solo casts, and brave conversations, we'll chat about motherhood, mysticism, psychedelics, spirituality, and more. You'll be reminded that your voice matters, that your truth matters, that you're here to walk in beauty. So be the prayer, and let's flip the script. Are you ready? Let's jump on in. Welcome to another episode of Flip the Script with Vic. It's your host, Victoria Nielsen. I am so excited, as always, to be here with another amazing woman that I have met along my spiritual journey that has helped me in motherhood and beyond. Miss Taryn Rioseco, owner of Here We Grow, beautiful singer, mother, entrepreneur. I'm excited to see where our conversation goes today because I feel like we could talk about so many different things.
Yeah, for sure. I'm so glad to be here. Thank you for having me.
So let's start with, I guess, how we know each other. So your beautiful company, Here We Grow. When I was in the throes of new motherhood, COVID, honestly, like a little bit post-COVID, and you had these amazing music circles that I brought my kids to a couple of times, and it was really fun just to like get out of the house and have something already set up. And music and art and theater are such a big part of like my upbringing. So being able to take the kids somewhere that they were going to get exposure to that was really important to me. I know you didn't start there. So tell us the story of Here We Grow and really of Taryn, because you've always been really musical, right?
Yeah, for sure. It's definitely a journey to get to that point. I love that that's that's our origin story. But yes, there is quite a bit that
Well,
sort
I
of
think before that, though, it was a full moon circle, maybe. Actually, as
is
I
it
was
a
talking,
moon
I was like,
circle?
wait a second, there was something else.
Yeah, and I think I was like, oh, by the way, this is what my company does. Come check out one
Yeah.
of our events. And like within a week or two, you were at one. So that was so exciting. Yeah, so I would say the real like origin of Here We Grow started when I was pregnant with my first child. I have two kiddos. They are 16 and 13 now. So this was like a whole 17 years ago, pregnant with my daughter, living in Berkeley, California. My husband and I were based in LA, and he had work in San Francisco for a year. And it just so happens that that was the year I was pregnant, birthed my baby, was postpartum. It was such a dream to become a mom in Berkeley. I had really beautiful, though temporary, community, but I feel like it really laid so much of the groundwork for who I am and who I became as a new mom. And yeah, we took this really empowering childbirth class. It was the Bradley method. It's not for everybody, but it was, I think, so much of what was inspiring about it for us was our teacher. We had an incredible teacher. It was a 12-week course. And somewhere throughout that, I looked at my husband and I was like, I'm going to do this work one day. Like I just felt called
I
to
just got
it.
full
In the
chills.
process.
Like,
Yeah. I didn't know how, I
like,
didn't know what it was going to look
not the
like.
Bradley method specifically that you wanted to do, or just helping moms, like helping. Okay.
Supporting moms. Yeah. I didn't know at first. I was like, oh, maybe it's in childbirth education. I had no idea, but it was just the initial like call of it, and yeah, so at the time I was a full-time theater producer. So yes, my background is
I
in
didn't
theater.
know that. Oh
Yes, that's
my gosh.
my that was my job before all of this shifted. And before that, I grew up in theater as a performer. So my OG background was in musical theater performance, and yeah, singer, actress, dancer. Went to performing arts high school in Miami, which is another
You
little
were the
point of
real high
crossover
school
for us.
musical, like.
Yeah, like Fame style, absolutely. So good, so good. My daughter's in a performing arts high school now, and it's so magical to kind of like
That's
experience it all
cool.
over again through her. Yeah, it's really cool.
That was always my like secret dream, I feel like, was to go to a performing arts high school, and like that never happened. I briefly wanted to go to Juilliard, and I
Uh-huh.
realized though that like actually I don't have any talent like that, like I
Yeah.
can just admire it. But what was your favorite? I don't know why this popped in while you were talking. What was your favorite character that you ever did? Like I know in high school I was Cha Cha from Greece. And
Yeah.
that to me was like the epitome of like cool.
Oh my goodness. Cha-cha, that's amazing. I can totally see that.
Right? Like,
Um, there were many of them, but the first one that came up for me was I actually played Mary Magdalene in Jesus Christ Superstar. I know.
no
No,
way. That makes
I
so
mean,
much
like,
sense now. Like, but what a foretelling.
it absolutely, like at the time, I was just so excited to land that role. I think I was 14. They draped me in like dark red velvet. It was like so special. And then just recently, kind of learning a little bit more about Mary Magdalene, and I'm actually in the summer going on a pilgrimage in France. Which I think you know about, but
I know, but I'm also just laughing at our Mary Magdalene connection because that's also how we've kind of, I feel like, deepened our friendship and connection is through Mary Magdalene and the red thread
yes,
and all of that divine feminine work that, I mean, has nothing to do with Here We Grow, but I think has to do
right,
with you
right.
as a person.
Yes, absolutely. But so that's been coming up for me. Like I was like, oh wow, I had a relationship with her. And this that role was, yeah, it was really empowering now upon reflection, and yeah, just an honor to get to play that role in that incredible musical. But my path really kind of veered away from theater. And in college, I studied theater education. So I ended up teaching and directing like right out of college for many years before I became a producer. So I was always a teacher and had a deep love for children and the arts and sort of where those met. And then, yeah, when I was pregnant in this childbirth class, I was like, I'm going to work with mothers and families. And it just kind of unfolded over the next several years very organically. Like I was still
Love
producing
that.
theater. Yeah, but I was chipping away at these side certifications. I became a birth doula and a childbirth educator, and then I did my certification with Music Together, which is like an early childhood music education program, and that came about from sitting in a music circle like the ones I lead now through Here
Really?
We Grow. Yeah, with my
That's cool.
daughter when she was a baby, and I connected with a teacher, and she was like, "Oh, you have a beautiful voice. Would you ever consider doing this work?" And I was like, "I don't think so." And then I was like, "You know what? Why not? It's so joyful. It's so sweet. I'm a singer and I have a background in the arts and education." And I did. I went on to get that certification and then, was still producing. And then in about 2013, my son was born in 2012. And after that, I started officially transitioning out of my main job and
You're following the breadcrumbs.
yeah, I followed the breadcrumbs. I started Here We Grow in 2013 in LA. So we lived in LA until about 7.5 years ago when we moved to Atlanta. But I was chipping away at this work there for sure, just in various ways. I also went on to become a certified parenting coach in connection parenting with hand in hand parenting. I don't know if you've heard of it, but
No,
it's
I'm like, what is that? Tell me more.
amazing. Yeah, yeah, yeah. So it's connection-based parenting. It's taking into consideration that a child needs to feel connected to thrive, and families need
Mhm.
connection to thrive. I mean, it's so funny talking about it. It seems kind of basic, but it's unbelievable how many people don't really like know that or know how to practice it. And it's really focuses on 5 very specific connection tools to help your child stay connected and you as a family stay connected. And it's all about brain regulation and co-regulation, and
And it's
it's
needed. Well,
really
and that's like
cool.
probably because I'm betting it's probably in those moments, right, where like, you probably want to disconnect because your child is being awful to you and you're kind of like,
Yes.
actually, I don't really want to be nice to you right now.
Yeah. Yeah,
But
it's
it's
hard.
learning that actually that's when you need to connect with them. Like
Yeah.
that's when they need you to see them and see that they're struggling and not try and punish them and not try and
Yeah.
like, make their behavior quote unquote bad, right? Like they don't
Right.
know,
Right. They're
like
just communicating. It's just a form of communication, like I think all behavior is communication, and yeah, it can be really hard if we're not in a space where we can sort of see that and
or if
respond
we were
versus,
raised that
yeah.
way, like,
Right. Oh
like
yeah. There's so much that goes into
I
it.
mean, there's so much. It's wild. And then yeah, then like the parenting style of your partner and like how they were raised and whether or
Oh
not you guys
yeah.
do stuff like These layers go deep, y'all that are listening that are parents. I know if you've been at it for a while, but if you're new here, like, man, those layers and the unlearning and all the things that
Yeah.
happen, like,
No, it's really deep rooted. And this sort of saved my life as a new parent when I had my two kids. Like that was when parenting got really tricky for me, was after my son was born and I was navigating the two, the baby and the toddler. And my daughter, who's the older one, just was her behavior just changed very dramatically. And I come from an incredible maternal line. Like my mother, it was a mommy and me teacher herself and just had always worked in supporting parents. And my grandmother was just this like matriarch, gorgeous, warm, nurturing, strong human. And so there's like a line of these women. And I sort of was like, oh, I got this, I'm gonna I'm gonna rock this. And then my husband and I, like, we just always wanted to be parents. Like I was like, this is like we're gonna do this thing. And it was such a rude awakening when we were parenting two young kids. And I just felt like I was completely falling apart. And it was around the same time that I was transitioning out of my full-time job into, this kind of work. And I found hand-in-hand parenting and it just changed my entire perspective. I learned so much about what was happening for my daughter in that transition of becoming a big sister. And she wasn't, even though she was totally in underwear, she like one day looked at me and just like stared at me while peeing across the room on the floor. And that was like that was my big light bulb moment. I was like,
okay, she sounds like Sebastian. Okay. Well, I will say Sebastian has not gotten to that point where he is, but he will, like, with we've been having issues with language lately. But he'll look right at you and say that F word or say the whatever and be like, what are you going to do about it? And I'm like, you're 6. I don't know. Like, I don't know. We've tried everything. I'm going to try hand-in-hand parenting. I'm going to look all this up afterwards because that boy. It started around the time that Rocky came though. Like, so it was like a really interesting parallel that you say that. And even too, like the transition of you moving away from what you were doing to what you are doing now. Cause I feel like that's the same, for me, like I left the corporate job last year. We're still in the thick of it. Like there's been some changes in like our family and things like that. And so I think that would be helpful, especially before. This is a total side tangent. We've been talking about baby number 3. I'm like coughing, but I'm like, we got to figure it out before baby number 3, if and when that ever happens.
Absolutely. It's very layered. There's a lot that, goes into it. And then one of my favorite things about Hand in Hand, though, is there's a parent to parent listening tool where it's like, this is all great on paper to show up in this way, in this connected way, to focus on connection, on, regulation. But are you getting support as the parent? And, one thing about their listening tool, which I love so much, is you just match up two parents and you exchange listening time. So you set a timer and you each listen to each other for like 10 minutes, 20 minutes, however long you have, but it's without judgment and it's without advice. So I think that's the biggest thing that sets it apart from therapy, is this is just like two parents holding space for each other. And it's so important to just like offload. And even if you're having fears around your child and who they might become in the world or what this behavior might mean, like we need a space to offload that, to be able to say like, this is scaring me.
Like, I think my child's a psychopath. Like, am I okay with that?
Right.
Like,
and sometimes we can't say that to our partners because like it almost like makes it too real, but like we do need a space to offload those things so that we can show up with like presence and connection in those harder moments. So I love that about it, is that it's not just like, here's how we parent the child. It's like, are we receiving support as well?
Well, everything you do, I feel like, comes back to that inner child almost, like that you're always trying to feed and nurture that inner child within you, whether it's the actual small children that are coming to your circles or the inner child of the parents, because like, for me, I had so much fun doing music circles with you. Like it brought back, like, I feel like core memories for me, like when you brought up that parachute, like your whole body is just like, oh, I know this. Like I've done
Everyone loves the parachute. I know, it's super nostalgic. And I think, at some point I just kind of took all those certifications and put them under the larger umbrella. And that's what Here We Grow is. It's the music jams. It's the parent coaching. It's 3 years ago, we added like sensory play and process art experiences, which I think you did one of those too.
Yeah, we did 2 of them. Like they were, I mean, the kids love them. And, it seems like, I don't know, you could set up your own sensory bids at home. No, you can't. Like, let someone else do it who has all
Yeah.
of the props and the tools and like
And then we take
make
care of
it,
the cleanup. I know
yeah,
it's pretty great. And
and
it's
make
so
it
important for
magical. Like, I
kids.
think Sebastian, it was like a dinosaur dig is the one that I
Uh-huh.
really, that one and a Halloween one, I think. But the dinosaur dig, like, he sat there and like did the dinosaurs and then stuck them back in. And then, or actually one of your helpers, I think, came by and like redid it for him every time. So it was like, okay, he can just like redig it back out and then redig it
Yeah.
back out. And like,
Yeah. No, absolutely. But I do think like the one of the common threads is connection,
yeah.
and just like these creative experiences and how they can build connection, like parent-child connection, also like families with other families, and that's like at the root, I feel like, of everything I do. Um, and then I would say like the biggest thing. So when I moved to Atlanta and all that took off, like mostly the music circles, I would say, is what Atlanta really embraced. Atlanta families really embraced our music circles. I went from being a team of one to a team of eight. I started building a team. So yeah, so like over the past few years, we've really grown, and it's been very organic and beautiful. And somewhere in the past year, I started missing. In LA, I used to lead mom circles, and they were
Mhm.
mostly postpartum support circles, and
Okay.
I used like a combination of my, I guess, tools as a doula and as a parenting coach, and I would sit in circle with moms almost every day, even if it was one class a day. But it was at this facility in LA that hosted these circles, so I was not doing the promoting. It wasn't necessarily
Mm.
part of my
You get to just
business,
like
but
show up and show your
I got
magic
to
and then be
show
done.
up as a facilitator, and it was like so deeply healing, like in my own mothering journey, and to these other women that I was connected to, many of whom I'm still connected to all these years later. They have like 10-year-olds now or something. And it's not something I'm really currently doing, but I've been really called to get back to it. And not specifically as much like in the postpartum period, but just like I feel like mothers always need doulas. Like it's so
Yes.
interesting that it's a birth or a postpartum doula. What about a mothering doula? And I feel like that's sort of what I'm stepping into right now, especially now that Here We Grow is like, I feel like it's landed in this, yeah, in this very, I mean, I don't want to say solid because what is that? But
No,
but I
but it's
do, I
beautiful.
have
Like it's
this.
it's a well-oiled machine, and that like you get to have some space now to play with stuff. And I can totally see this coming together with all of that divine feminine energy.
Yeah.
That like everything you've been learning there and all of the priestess initiations and information, like you're
Yes.
meant to channel that into this new venture. And whether you call it anything like that or you just like subtly put that into the mother's circle, like I think
Right.
that feels really good. Holy cow,
Yeah,
Taryn.
I know. I took a big step yesterday on International Women's Day, and I made a new Instagram page called Mothering with Light.
Yay! Oh my gosh, guys,
It
go
was
follow
like,
Mothering with Light right
I
now.
was like, I'm doing this. It feels just like, yeah, the next layer of the calling. The truth is, I guess I've been following those breadcrumbs all along, and I went on this pretty epic women's retreat in Glastonbury last year, and just learned so much, stretched in so many ways, and really kind of thought I was going to come home and just like explode and launch and all this like with all this new empowerment, and kind of the opposite thing kind of happened. Like I feel like
The
last year ended up
contraction.
being kind of like, yeah, this cocooning period. I totally like took it all and then just like curled into myself for the
Mhm.
year. And then a very dramatic shift happened. Just this year of the fire horse energy is just like out
Let's
of control.
go. But it's
It's
because you
very,
did it like I would love to talk about this because I think most women, to your point, will go on the big retreat. They will go do the expansive thing. And not that they think it's done, but like the integration afterwards is actually almost more important than going on the thing,
yeah,
because your energy is going to contract. I call it the jellyfish effect. Like to
yeah,
expand, the next natural thing you have to do is contract to then move into that next expansion. But we don't see that part or we
right.
don't talk about it or we act like it's a bad thing, but that cocooning is exactly what you should do so that you
Yeah,
can birth out what's next, because if not, you're really almost just like spiritually bypassing or even just repeating the same patterns and probably not
right.
even learning the lessons that you're meant to be learning. And that's actually really too why I think we shouldn't always be healing. We shouldn't always be like searching for that outward adventure. Some
Yeah,
seasons are for the inward. you know? And I know you'll have the adventure again this year when you go back in August, and I can't wait to see like what happens after that. Like, do you go into
I
another
know.
cocoon period? And maybe it's not a year-long cocoon. Maybe it's only like a
Right.
6-month cocoon, you know?
Yeah. Well, it makes me laugh because I went on that retreat with a best friend of mine, and we gave ourselves a post-retreat integration day in London. Like we were like, oh,
Oh my
we'll
God,
take a
everyone should
day
do
to
that.
integrate.
Honestly, after every women's retreat I host, I recommend to my clients do it.
Yeah, it's so worth it, but it also makes me laugh because the integration has been so much more epic than that. Like it was funny that we were like, oh, we'll take a day to
Yeah,
integrate,
like
you
this
know?
is the best, just the
Yeah.
day. Oh, it's
Yeah.
so
But
funny.
it's really, yeah, it's definitely, I think a big part of it is also like my kids are teenagers and there's a lot more room right now in this moment for me and what's next for me and what's, resonating and what I want to put out in the world. And I think that yeah, I think I've been hiding maybe a little bit and a little quieter. So I think, but again, my initial background was as a performer. Like I used to stand on stage in front of hundreds of people under the lights, and like that was my happy place. So I'm sort of like feeling called, yeah, into this new space of like getting comfortable with being seen again and being a little more
Yay!
visible, other than like my little cute little like family circles and
Of
that I
course,
do.
but I love that you shared that because I mean, visibility I think is hard for any woman, right? We're
Yeah.
told not to take up space. We're told to be quiet. And so many of us have these inklings or dreams or just feelings when we were little. I was such a theater kid. I loved being on stage. I was always the youngest performer with all of the like older kids.
Oh,
And then like I don't know, just somewhere along the way you shy away from it, right? Like you're
yeah,
told that, that that's not what you should do for a job or that that's
right.
not sustainable or whatever. And I don't know why the picture that keeps coming to me is like, do you watch Secret Lives of Mormon Wives? Oh
No.
my God, it's such a terrible, it's such a like but I'm not like one of those other like I don't watch Love is Blind or any of those other ones. But
Uh-huh.
anyway, one of the main women like used her 5 minutes of fame to really spotlight herself into like a spot on Dancing with the Stars. And then
Wow.
now she's headlining as Roxy in Chicago.
No
But she
way.
had she had this like theater background that she kind of like gave up and said like,
Yeah.
"Oh, that'll never happen for me." And then she started making like videos, TikToks of course, of like her like dancing on the internet and that's how they got the show. She got on Dancing with the Stars. Like it's crazy and she's just like
Wow.
I'm the luckiest girl that she was like I just never forgot that little dream and carried it with me and it came to fruition in a different way. Do you feel like there is a little dream that you've carried with you since, little Taryn, since little Mary Magdalene Taryn that like you are ready to like bring forth into the world or is it still percolating?
It's still percolating. I think the dream has changed over time. I think I really truly like if I tap into the deepest place within myself, really truly believe that I no longer have a dream to do theater. Like it was
Okay,
everything
that
for
I
me
was going to
growing
ask
up,
if like
but
that had
I
shifted.
it totally shifted. I think the point of crossover for me now is in singing. I am a singer, and I think I sing every day with my babies and toddlers and moms, and still get so much joy out of that. But we just recorded an album, a Here We Grow album with our team. I'm so excited. It's about to be birthed into the world this spring.
When is it? Do you have a
Um,
date yet or not yet?
no, I need to
Okay.
I need to do that.
Oh, but I love it. So it's
Um,
specifically like a baby album or
yeah, it's like
younger toddler.
it feels like one of our classes. So it's like the music changes in our classes from week to week, but the structure is kind of always the same. So the album really kind of mimics the structure of one of our classes. So I had like 5 or 6 families in the recording studio and we sat in a circle and the studio, it was so brilliant the way it came about because at first we were like, oh, am I going to be in a room with headphones and all isolated? And
Yeah,
then
like
we were
I'm in the booth by myself, like acting like I'm
yeah.
teaching a class.
Yeah, and we were like, no. And the studio guys were amazing, and they were like, you know what, we're gonna mic you. Like, we're gonna set up the mics around the circle. And so we just kind of held what felt like a class, and you hear the little voices, and the moms are singing along, and my teachers are on there too. And it was a really special day. It was a beautiful experience. And then I did go into the studio by myself with the headphones for 2 songs. So there is
Okay.
like a me singing, belting it out, on 2 songs, which felt really good. So that's coming out. So I do feel that, but I think, yeah, the biggest call right now is just in getting back to supporting moms. And I hear it all the time. Like moms walk away from experiences with me or classes, even if they have nothing to do with support specifically, and they're like, oh, I just, I feel so safe here with you,
Mhm.
or like, I want to, I got so much out of this, or I want to learn more from you, or that keeps coming up, or that I'm this like nurturing presence for a lot of the families I've worked with over the years. And I think I used to just sort of smile and say thank you. And
Not
it
even
really
take the
warmed
compliment.
my
You're kind of
heart.
like, yeah, yeah, okay.
Yeah, and now I'm like, okay, I think it's time to, nurture this a little bit more. And it's clearly like I feel like it's being asked of me, and I'm just like ready to kind of rise to the occasion.
And I love that you've done the intuitive work and the inner work to notice that,
Yeah.
because I think other women maybe wouldn't have, or to your point, would shy away from it and say, like, oh, it's not a big deal. But it is true. And it is a big deal.
Yeah.
Like, you do have a very nurturing presence, and not everyone has that as their superpower. And
Yeah.
I just keep, as you're talking, and I'm like picturing the circles, which I cannot wait for this CD to come out, by the way, because to have your circles, like, be able to replicate them in my own home would be like the coolest thing. But I keep
Yes.
picturing, I think you need to send, or at like an additional price point, the magic wands
Yes.
need to be a part of it.
Everybody's favorite moment of our class, the magical star chime. I know I have been envisioning that of like it's an option because I mean, everybody will probably be able to stream it for free. Like music is funny that way these days, but I think I was thinking of, yeah, I could send out little instrument kits and, add a star
Oh my God,
chime
we need
onto
a
it.
whole side brainstorm because I have so many ideas for you now. I'm like, oh my God, yes, you do it like a Kickstarter, and the first group buys this, and the next group gets this.
Yes, I love it. I love it.
Oh my gosh.
Yeah, but I don't know. I feel, it's pretty intense times out there in the world, and I
Yeah.
feel like so incredibly blessed and grateful that I do the work that I do. It feels like really joyful to be able to sit with families, with little ones. I talk about this with my team all the time. Like, if you allow it to be that, it is such a gift that we can just like look into the eyes of these little ones and be a support system for their parents. And it just feels, yeah, very, very special and poignant, especially right now, I would say.
It is. You're shaping the next generation, and you're showing them the things that have truth and beauty, and they're still so valuable. I think, if not more so now, because of everything that's happening in the world. Like, our joy is precious, and
Yeah.
the arts are precious, and we need to keep having these moments of creation and of play, and they're not silly. Like, they're needed, and actually, the more that
Yeah.
we can do that, the more that we can help the world, because when it gets really dark, we gotta find the people that are bringing the light. So thank you for being
Yes.
one of them. We'll
Oh,
put in the show notes how folks can
absolutely.
get in touch with you. But would you share with us what's the best way to either come to a Here We Grow music circle, find out about the album, all the good stuff?
Yeah, so we are a totally mobile business. So we don't really have like one specific home. We have many homes, and some of them are in other people's actual homes. So we do a lot of privately hosted classes and events. So basically, we have like hosting families who will host a 6 or 8 week series of our offerings, or we have like 3 different sort of indoor play spaces we work with where you can do a stay and play thing, like take a Here We Grow class and then play in the play space. And then we do a lot of birthday parties. But I would say Instagram is probably like the place where you'll see the most about what we have going on, and that's Here We Grow ATL. And for more on what I'm going to be doing on this mothering doula journey, that's Mothering with Light. And yeah, and then our website is here-we-grow.com. And that's where you'll find all the info.
Yay. Well, thank you so much for being here, Taryn. I think we just need more of these uplifting light conversations to remind ourselves that play is important right now, and that we need to take care of ourselves. So if you are
Yeah.
looking for someone to nurture you, I love the mothering doula. Taryn has the perfect energy for it. So please keep an eye out. If you've been enjoying this conversation, please like, rate, subscribe, review, share it with another woman who just needs to hear that maybe the breadcrumbs are happening for her, right? That she just needs to take that little leap or listen to that little voice, do the little thing, go to the music class. Thank you guys for being here. I can't wait to bring you another amazing woman next week. I'm trying to think if there's anything else. I'm so bad at promoting myself. My Queen of Hearts Mastermind starts again in April 1st for creatives, guides, coaches, entrepreneurs, women who want to learn to attract their soulmate clients with their specific magical juju and essence. There'll be more about that in the show notes. I think that's it. Thanks for being here, guys. Thanks again, Taryn. Be good to one
Thank
another.
you. Yes.
I love y'all. Mwah.